Magandang araw po sa lahat ng ating mga kamag-aaral ng Salita ng Diyos. It was July 2023 when we started Maniwala Facebook Live. Many other preachers and teachers in our brotherhood started during the pandemic and continue to do so. Mas matagal na po sila. Pero nagpapasalamat po tayo sapagkat dito po sa Maniwala Facebook Live ay nagsimula po tayo 2 years ago, 2023, July 2023. And YouTube channel po ay last year naman, July 2024. 2 years ago, we began with understanding our heritage, the Restoration Movement. Kaya naman po 2 years later, ngayon, I believe it is time to revisit this topic, Restoration Movement 201. At ito nga po ang ating topic ngayong araw na ito at sa susunod na mga linggo, Restoration Movement 201, Stone Campbell Movement, at ito po ay Part 1. Now, wala pong masyadong bigat yung 201 and 101 and just to give us some idea kung nasaan tayo ngayon. And since this is our second series po para sa Restoration Movement, I just entitled it Restoration Movement 201. Ang ating pong paalala lamang sa lahat ng ating mga kamag-aaral, we will not be exhaustive, comprehensive sa ating pagtalakay ng Restoration Movement history. Although, masasabi ko po sa inyo na hindi nga ito exhaustive at hindi nga po ito comprehensive. But you know what? I am anticipating that this present series will take at least 9 installments. Please understand na ang ating pong unang installment will be a review of what we discussed 2 years ago so that we can set the mood and connect the dots, so to speak. So how is the Restoration Movement known? Sinasabi po na Restoration Movement or Stone Campbell Movement. How was the group called? Well, meron pong ilan na mga tumawag sa brotherhood na ito, sa Restoration Movement na ito. At isa nga po dito si James Harvey Garrison na tinawag po niya ang Restoration Movement na the Reformation of the 19th century. And he did this on 1901. Ganyan din po naman na si M. Davis ay tinawag po ang grupo na ito na the Restoration Movement of the 19th century at ginawa niya po ito noong 1913. And there was another person who wrote a book, walang iba kundi si James De Forest Murch. Tinawag po niya ang brotherhood na ito o ang grupo na ito na Restoration or the Restoration Movement. 1962. Nusulatin po niya ang kanyang aklat, Christians Only. And Leroy Garrett, tinawag po niya ang grupo na ito, ang movement na ito na Stone Campbell Movement nung po siya sumulat ng kanyang aklat regarding this group noong 1981. So, meron pong iba't ibang mga katawagan as I can show you, may iba't ibang katawagan ang Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell Movement, or the Reformation of the 19th century, or the Restoration Movement of the 19th century. So let us have a review of the Restoration Movement 101. Tingnan po natin yung ating mga pinag-usapan at tinalakay sa nakaraan, 2 years ago. Ang sabi po ng John 13, 34, 35, and this is where we're gonna be starting. Sa New Living Translation, it says, "So now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, so you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples." The question we asked when we read this kind of scripture is this: what is this passage verses teaching us to relate to other congregations outside of the brotherhood. Ano nga kaya ang itinuturo ng ganitong mga talata o mga talataan patungkol sa ugnayan natin sa ibang mga kongregasyon na nasa labas ng ating mga kapatiran? What kind of unity is being asked nang sabihin dito na love each other, your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples? Well, what kind of unity? We are not suggesting an organizational unity in the sense that all churches should submit under one leader. Hindi po yun ang tinatalakay at tinutukoy ng ating Panginoong Yesus nang sinabi niyang love each other. At mapapatunayan niyo na kayong mga alagad kung kayo nagkakaisa, definitely it's not organizational unity. Kung hindi po organizational unity ang hinihingi ng ating Panginoong Yesus, ay ano po ang hinihingi ng ating ng Panginoong Hesus at ng mga talatang ito patungkol sa ating relasyon sa ibang mga tao na marahil hindi natin kasama sa brotherhood? Well, we're suggesting relational unity in the sense that though they may appear some differences at talagang meron pong differences, theological differences, denominational differences, meron po niyan. In the way you and your brother view a particular doctrine, talagang hindi nawawala yan. You will still attempt to connect relationally to other congregations outside the brotherhood. So, maliwanag po yung sinabi sa atin ng John 13:34 that we need to love each other. And so this is not exclusive, but inclusive. Kasi sabi ito, your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. At sana nga po ay makita sa atin because we are preparing and we are setting the mood, yung tinatawag nating restoration movement that started in the 1800s. Pinakikita natin dito kung ano nga ba ang kanilang mga naging plano, ang kanilang mga naging layunin. And it was not necessarily organizational unity, but it's more of the relational unity. At this point, let us try to understand the goal. And understanding the goal of the Restoration Movement or Stone Campbell Movement is very important. Napakahalaga po ito upang maunawa natin kung sino tayo at paano tayo nagmula at saan nagmula ang Restoration Movement or Stone Campbell Movement or yung tinatawag pa ng iba na sabi nga po natin kanina ay maaaring the Reformation of the 19th century or the Restoration Movement of the 19th century. Atin pong unawain ang goal ng Restoration Movement. Sabi po ni James B. North, the Restoration Movement is based on the twin concerns of unity and biblical authority. And if these two concerns are not unique to the Restoration Movement, what is so significant about the movement? It was the first time, according to James B. North, it was the first time in the movement that these two concerns were combined. Others previously concerned themselves with unity, still others with the restoration of biblical authority as the standard for the church. But not until the Restoration Movement got underway was anyone concerned about restoring the unity of the church by restoring the original standard of the church. Sinabi rin po ni James North na restoration of biblical authority, that the church may be united in order that the world might be one according to the prayer of Jesus. That is the preeminent purpose of the Restoration movement. Nothing else has the importance as does the premier goal of evangelism. Unity and biblical authority are means to an end, not ends themselves. Yan po ang sabi ni Dr. James B. North. Dr. North, professor po sa dating Cincinnati Bible College and Seminary, naging Cincinnati Christian University. So let me show you a chart and let me refresh your mind dito po sa chart nating ginawa. According to what James North said, so the Restoration Movement or the Stone Campbell Movement is the vehicle. It is the vehicle, it is the starting point upang magkaroon po ng tinatawag na world evangelization, but there is the means, and the means is unity through the scripture. Upang marating ng movement na ito yung world evangelization, kinakailangan na merong paraan at ang paraan ay ang unity through the scripture upang marating yung world evangelization, which is the end goal of the Restoration Movement or Stone Campbell Movement, kagaya po ng ating binasa kanina at napakinggan kanina. So naroon yung vehicle, yung paraan, o yung tinatawag nating pagmumulan, yung pamamaraan, at yung tinatawag nating end goal. Now, yung pong salitang union in truth, it was Thomas Campbell who introduced or who coined the words union in truth, which became the title of James B. North na book, Union in Truth. Now, ginamit po ni Thomas Campbell yung Union in Truth when he wrote the Declaration and Address, which we will be looking at and discussing sa mga susunod na mga panahon. According to, again, to James North, Union in Truth, the phrase reflects both the commitment to Christian unity as well as the commitment to base that union on biblical authority or truth. Hindi nawawala yung Christian unity, pero hindi rin naman nawawala ang tinatawag na biblical authority or truth. Na mahalaga po na pareho silang nagiging paraan, nagiging means to an end. Unity through the scripture. Hindi pwedeng alisin ang unity, hindi pwedeng mahinain ang unity, hindi naman po pwedeng isa-isang tabi ang scripture, kundi pagsamahin ang dalawang ito. At ito po ang behikulo, ang Restoration Movement, ang paraan upang marating yung world evangelization. This is the movement. God will bring world evangelization at ang kanilang paraan ay ang unity through the scripture nga para marating yung world evangelization. Pero mga kapatid, meron pong nangyari. Meron pong hindi magandang nangyari sapagkat ang nangyari po sa dakong huli, and this is just to fast forward a little bit, yung pong Restoration Movement na nais na magkaroon ng world evangelization ay na-focus na lamang po sa pag-uusap ng unity through the scripture. At ang sabi nga ng ilan, well, paano tayo magkakaisa? Saan tayo magkakaisa? When in fact, we are not the same on interpreting the scripture. So, they were trying to struggle, they were struggling, sila po talagang nagkaroon ng konting hindi lang po konting tension, kundi nagkaroon ng iba't ibang mga pananaw sa tinatawag po nating unity through the scripture, at doon na lamang po sila nag-usap ng nag-usap alin ba dito ang pagkakaisa natin at alin ba ano ba talaga ang sinasabi ng scripture at nalimutan na nga po in the end yung tinatawag nating world evangelization because they focus on the means at hindi na po sila nakaalis doon, na-trap na po sila. And so, in a sense, para pong hindi na narating yung end goal which is world evangelization. Tandaan po natin mga kapatid, to achieve the end goal, which is world evangelization, we need both unity through the scripture. That was the aim, that was the goal of the founding fathers of the Restoration Movement, Stone Campbell Movement, the Restoration Movement of the 19th century, or the Reformation of the 19th century. Unity through the scriptures, both are needed to achieve the goal. Pero nga, sabi ko nga po sa inyo, merong mga tao at grupo na nagkaroon ng problema dito sa unity through the scripture at yung isa ay nag-focus na lamang sa unity. They wanted to embrace everyone no matter what the position is, no matter what the interpretation would be or could be in the scripture, basta tayo magkakapatid, basta tatanggapin kita ano man ang iyong paniniwala, that represents the disciples of Christ in general sa Restoration Movement. At meron naman pong nag-focus doon sa tinatawag na the scripture na sinasabi, well, if you are not interpreting the scripture the way I do, if you do not see the scripture the way I do, if you are not teaching the scripture the way I do, then you're not my brother. You're not my sister. And that basically represents the non-instrumental church. Nakakalungkot po, it is a very sad thing na yung isang movement na nagsimula na merong malaki at mataas na layunin for world evangelization, which is the Great Commission, which is, as Jesus was sent, I am sending you, sabi nga po sa John. Yung nais ng ating Panginoon Jesus na magkaroon ng world evangelization at napakaganda po ng pasimula ng movement na ito, which is unity to the scripture, yun din po, unfortunately, yun din po ang nagpahiwalay sa movement na ito. Sa halip na unity through the scripture, yung isa nag-focus sa unity, yung isa nag-focus sa scripture. Now, what was unique with the Restoration Movement was these two concerns were combined. Ito po ang natatangi at nakikita sa Restoration Movement. Pagsamahin yung desire to unite with the brethren at the same time through the scriptures. What happened later on was the movement just became like many other churches. One group emphasizing unity alone, the other group was emphasizing biblical authority alone. Wala pong nag-maintain ng tinatawag na unity through the scripture. Tila man din wala ng movement ngayon. Isang grupo, isang sama na nagsasabi at umaakit sa lahat ng mga mananampalataya, sa lahat ng mga Kristiyano, let us unite through what the scripture says. And it can be done sa tinatawag nating dialogue. At kahit po ang mga pag-uusap ngayon ay naputol na at tila man din pinuputol na sapagkat hindi na nag-uusap ang maraming mga magkakaibang grupo ng mananampalataya. And so, the movement wanted to remain a movement until divisions took place. The founding fathers of this movement did not have a plan to establish another congregation. Let me say that again. The founding fathers of this movement did not have a plan to establish another congregation that would stand in contrast to other existing congregations at their time, during their days. Wala po. They intended to heal all kinds of division or all kinds of divisions among the churches. Lahat ng pagkakawatak-watak ng iglesia noong mga panahon nila, ng mga founding fathers nila, gusto nilang mahilom ang mga sakit at sama ng loob at ang pagkakaiba-iba sa magitan ng pagkakaisa sa autoridad ng Biblia. Sapagkat naniniwala sila na nagkakahiwa-hiwalay ang mga iglesia dahilan sa isang bagay because of creeds or their special understanding or their interpretation of the Bible. Doon nagkakahiwa-hiwalay at doon nagkakaiba-iba. At sa halip na mag-usap, ay nagkakasakitan at tila man din nagkakatulan. Walang dialogo, walang pag-uusap. Kaya nagkaroon po ng restoration movement to invite people to be united through what the scripture says. Not in a harsh way, not in a judgmental way, but sa pamamagitan po ng dialogo, pakikipag-usap. At marahil minsan may pag-uusap na may mahigpit at medyo may konting sakit, pero sa dakong uli, noong nagpapasimula pa po ang restoration movement, nagkakaroon po ng mga maayos na mga aksyon at magagandang resulta ang kanilang pag-uusap. The restoration movement, the Reformation of the 19th century, the Stone Campbell movement, founding fathers got so tired of the kinds of divisions they witnessed in their congregations between and among the churches. Pagod na pagod po ang marami nating ang nakita na ang ating mga founding fathers na dibisyon, pagkakawatak-watak, pagkakahiwa-hiwalay, pagtatalo-talo ng mga Kristiyano at ng mga iglesia lokal. Nakakapagod po kasi ang laging pagtatalo. Ang laging pagkukumparahan. Ang laging pagkakaroon ng di pagkakaunawaan. At sa sobrang dibisyon, sa sobrang dami ng pagkakahiwa-hiwalay ng hindi lamang physically ng mga iglesia, kundi ng puso ng mga mananampalataya at ng mga tagasunod ni Jesus, ang nagkaroon po ng pasanin ng ilang mga tao na papagkaisahin ang mga magkakahiwalay at mga nagkakaroon ng competition ng mga churches sa pamamagitan po ng unity through the scripture. So, ito nga po ang nangyari, yung isang movement na dapat sana naging malakas na movement for world evangelization ay naging movement, a movement that became 3 churches. Disciples of Christ, Christian churches or churches of Christ, and thirdly, churches of Christ, which is also known as the non-instrumental. Let me tell you what James North said. Not until the 20th century do these terms begin to take on nuances or specificity. Yet, these 20th century nuances should not cloud the fact that in the 19th century, such nuances did not exist. We should never use modern labels with retroactive application. Ang ibig pong sabihin ni Dr. James North ay wala yung mga disciples of Christ, Christian churches and Church of Christ na parang may tatlong iglesia because it started as a movement. It started as a movement noong 19th century. Pag tinay po natin 19th century, it starts with 1800 hanggang 1899. Yan po yung 19th century. Wala po yung ganong mga nuances, mga pangalan. Well, disciples of Christ, but that's it. And sabi nga po niya, habilin ni James North, we should never use modern labels with retroactive na parang ibinabalik mo sa nakaraan, yung mga tawag at katawagan. So anong hindi sinasabi dito? What was the unsaid? What was the meaning of this na sinabi po ni James North? Well, ang sinasabi niya ay ganito. In the 19th century, such nuances, such distinctions, such traces, such names did not exist. Walang pagkakahiwa-hiwalay ang movement. Before all differences and divisions manifested in the movement was known not as a church, but a movement uniting all followers of Jesus to the truth laid down in the scriptures. Tandaan po ninyo mga kamag-aaral, hindi po nagnais ang mga founding fathers na magkaroon ng bagong iglesia. Hindi po. It was a movement for world evangelization, inviting all Christians from different congregations, from different churches, inviting all leaders, inviting ministers, inviting all church leaders to unite through the scriptures. And it was a successful movement. Let me say, maybe for the first 100 years, because they were growing, the movement was growing by the thousand. Hindi ko po sinasabing the church was growing. No, the church, it was not the church in the first 100 years. And I will discuss kung paano ito naging church bandang huli. Fast forward lang po yung sinabi ko kanina na nagkaroon ng mga tatlong pangalan. But it was not a church and there was no intention of creating a church distinct or in contrast with the other existing church. It was for world evangelization. The means was unity to the scripture, and the vehicle was the movement, the restoration movement, the Stone Campbell movement, the Reformation of the 19th century, or the restoration movement of the 19th century. I don't know how you want to call it. Another thing that I would like to share with you today, not only to understand the goal of the restoration movement and to revisit the goal of the restoration movements, but also to understand the anthem na sa ating pong bansa, sa Pilipinas, ay naging napaka-siglang awitin ng lahat ng mga iglesia lokal. Walang iba kundi ang ating paninindigan. And today, I would like to interpret the song just like what I did 2 years ago so that we can understand a little bit more on the content of this song, ang ating paninindigan. At ito po yung tinatawag nating interpretation of the song or song interpretation. Ang sabi po ng ating pag-awit ay ganito, ang ating awitin sa ating paninindigan. Iglesia ni Kristo'y walang ibang nilalayo. Well, of course, meron po talagang layunin ang church. Well, to begin with, hindi pa po Iglesia ni Cristo kasi nga po it was a movement. In the beginning, it was a movement na naging church nga po na sabi ko sa inyo kanina, later on, after 100 years, ay nagkaroon nga po ng tatlong division, tatlong churches. Okay, let's put it this way. Iglesia ni Cristo, walang ibang nilalayo. Pero there was an original na intention. Ano po yun? Ano po ang original intention ng restoration movement? Nilalayon, ano po nilalayon? Sa lahat ng tao at pangkating reliyon. Now, take note of the word pangkating reliyon. It speaks of all the churches, all the religious groups na naniniwala kay Kristo pero tila man din magkakahiwalay. Tila man din mayroong malaking hindi pagkakaunawaan pangkating relihiyon. And so you're looking on other congregations, other church na hindi po nasa loob ng brotherhood, kundi nasa labas ng brotherhood. Meron pong nais tayo as a church. Well, before it was a movement. As a movement, meron tayong nilalayon, hindi sa lahat ng tao, at hindi po lamang sa lahat ng tao, kundi sa lahat ng mga different religions or religious groups or denominations. Pangkating reliyon. Every time you sing this, pangkating reliyon, think of the churches outside the brotherhood. Meron tayong layunin habang inaawit natin ito sa kanila. Ano po ang ating layunin? Pangkating reliyon, sa mga pangkating reliyon, as you think about them, itanyag, kundi itanyag si Kristo'y Harit, Panginoon. Do we have that desire na ang ibang pangkating reliyon, as our movement began, ay meron tayong naisin sa lahat ng tao at sa lahat ng pangkating reliyon na itanyag si Kristo'y Harit, Panginoon. Na maging Christ-centered tayo. First and foremost, maging Christ-centered muna tayo. And not to think of our own. Itanyag si Kristo'y Harit, Panginoon. Is that what you want? Or itanyag ang iyong brotherhood? Si Kristo ang ating nais itanyag. Si Kristo ang gusto nating itaas. Because the Church of Jesus Christ is centered on Him. At ito yung dapat sundin buong panahon. Sabi po ng ating awitin. Now, another thing that we can see in this song, ang ating panindigan, ang sabi doon, ibangong maguli ang dating kakristyanuhan. And this is our desire. The movement desires to restore the New Testament teaching. At yun ang ating gustong sabihin sa lahat ng mga pangkating relihiyon. Not to impose to them, but to talk to them and say, let's be Christ-centered and let us restore the New Testament church. And let us communicate, let us dialogue. If it will take 1,000,000 years to dialogue, just exaggerating po, let's continue dialoguing. Huwag tayong magsawa. Ang mahalagay, nag-uusap tayo. Relationally, nag-uusap tayo, nakikita tayo mata sa mata. At hindi tayo nagkakahiwalay. Ibang maguli ang dating kakristyanuhan. Ayon sa turo at aral ng bagong tipan. Let's see what the scripture says, especially the New Testament. Sabi rin po ng awit, kapag inaawit natin ito, papag-isahin ang lahat sa isang iglesia. This is a very powerful word. Papag-isahin. Let us unite. Let us unite everyone and make them one church. Paano? Well, sa pamamagitan ng ating pagbabangon ng dating kakristyanuhan na ayon sa turo at aral ng bagong tipan. Now, when we dialogue, we cannot say, well, you believe me, and if you don't believe me, then let us separate ways. Hindi po dialogo yun. Kailangan natin papag-isahin, pero kinakailangan tayong mag-usap, pero kinakailangan tayong magkaroon ng pagpapakumbaba sa ating pag-usap. Sapagkat hindi magkakaisa kung hindi po tayo magkakaroon ng humility if we will not let go of the pride. As if we alone hold the whole counsel of God. We alone possess the whole counsel of God. Kapag isahin ang lahat sa isang iglesyang itinuro ni Jesus. sa tanan. Kapag isahin, do we make an effort outside the brotherhood na papag-isahin ang lahat sa isang iglesia? Or nararamdaman nilang di naman din sila itinataboy because we are not on the same page when it comes to understanding the scripture. Pinag-iisa o natataboy? Nag-uusap o nag-iiwasan? Sabi pa rin po ng awit na ito, as we continue to interpret this song, which I hope it will mean a lot to you because it means a lot to me when I sing this song. Walang ibang batayan liban sa kasulatan. Now, ano po ang batayan natin when it comes to the truth? Is it people, group of people, na kapag itong grupong ito ang nagsalita, dapat pakinggan ninyo, pero kapag itong grupong ito ang nagsalita, ay hindi dapat pakinggan? Ang sabi po ng awit, walang ibang batayan liban sa kasulatan. It did not say walang ibang batayan liban sa name it. Kung minsan kasi nagkakaroon ng ibang batayan. Hindi ang kasulatan. Minsan po ay nakakalungkot na ang nagiging batayan ay pangalan ng tao or grupo ng mga tao. Pero walang ibang batayan, ang sabi po ng ating inaawit. And I sing this and I hope that you sing this with all your heart. Walang ibang batayan liban sa kasulatan. At wala tayong itinataas na batayan kundi ang kasulatan. Walang ibang kredo, walang ibang listahan ng mga paniniwala liban kay Yesu Kristo. Walang ibang kredo. Alam nyo, bawat grupo po ng mga churches, at ito po yung panahon ng ating mga founding fathers, na nakita nila na may iba't ibang mga kredo, iba't ibang creeds, listahan ng mga paniniwala ang mga grupo ng mga churches noon, ang mga churches noon. Let me give you some examples. Lutheran, they have the Augsburg Confession of 1530. Ang Anglicans, meron po silang creeds, the 39 Articles of 1563. Gayun din po ang Catholics, the decrees of the Council of Trent of 1563. Reformation in Zurich, the Heidelberg Catechism, 1563. The Presbyterians, meron silang the Westminster Confession of Faith of 1646. Baptists, they have the Philadelphia Confession of Faith of 1742. Kaya sabi nga po ng ating awit, walang ibang kredo liban kay Yesu Kristo. Dito tayo magsesentro. Walang ibang batayan kundi ang kasulatan, hindi personalidad, hindi lugar, kundi ang kasulatan ang magiging batayan. Pag-aralan natin kung sino sa kanila ang nagsasabi ng mas malapit sa sinasabi ng Biblia. Walang ibang kredo, kagaya ng aking mga nabanggit, kundi si Yesu Kristo. Alisin, ang sabi nga po ng mga founding fathers, ito ang nagpasikip ng ating pagkakaisa. Ito ang nagpahiwalay ng ating pagkakaisa. Ang iba't ibang listahan ng ating paniniwala at tradisyon. And still does. It still separates churches today. Sabi pa rin po ng ating awit, ang ating panindigan, walang ibang ngalan liban sa Kristiyano lamang. We want to be identified as we belong to Christ. Christ. Kristiyano. Naangkop na pangalan. Walang iba. Kundi yung nakakapit kay Kristo. Walang dagdag, walang bawas, walang ibang ngalan liban sa Kristiyano lamang. Ito ang ating paninindigan. I think I like the song, but when I sing it, maybe I sing it in a different with a different understanding. Iba't ibang excitement ng ating pag-awit sa kantang ito. But when I sing it, this is what I mean when I sing it. And I don't know if you sing it the same way I do when you see the word pangkating relihiyo, when you see the word na walang ibang batayan, yung papag-isahin ang lahat sa isang iglesia. I don't know what comes to your mind. Nagkakaisa ang lahat sa isang iglesia, pinag-iisa, not based on your account, not based on your understanding, pero pinag-iisa ayon sa iisang batayan, kasulatan, walang kredo kundi si Jesucristo. I like this song. And I hope that you will also try to meditate on the lyrics of the song because it goes with and it goes along with the goal of the movement, which is unity through the scripture. After we talk about the goal of the restoration movement and the anthem of the restoration movement, let's talk about understanding the slogans. The restoration movement or Stone Campbell movement. Ang una po nating gustong talakaying slogan na popular or sumikat sa ating grupo ay yung tinatawag na we are Christians only but not the only Christians. Now this is one of the slogans we had. At ito po ay ginamit ni Thomas Phillips Sr. during the Centennial Convention Report. We are Christians only, but not the only Christians. Sabi nga po ni Thomas W. Phillips Sr. ay ganito. In advocating this great plea, we do not claim to be the only Christians, but we do claim to be Christians only. We have no authority but the Bible, and we have no creed but Christ. Mga kapatid, I like this slogan. Although this may create also some problems to some, but this is a very beautiful slogan. We are Christians only, but not the only Christians. And when we think of the churches outside of our brotherhood, this is a beautiful slogan to embrace. This is one of our slogans. We are Christians only, but not the only Christians. Sandali nga po kayong makinig sa mga katabi ninyo na mga kapanampalataya. Tingnan po ninyo kung kanilang nababasa, kung inyong mababasa sa kanilang isipan o marinig sa kanila at makikita sa kanilang mga gawa. Ganito kaya ang kanilang slogan as part of the restoration movement. Ganito kaya namumutawi sa kanilang mga bibig, we are Christians only, but not the only Christians. At hindi lamang po namumutawi sa kanilang mga labi, kundi nakikita sa kanilang mga gawa. Yung effort na maipakitang hindi lamang ako ang Kristiyano, kundi ako'y isang mananampalataya. Ako'y isang Kristiyano, pero hindi lamang ako ang Kristiyano. Do you see them? Do you see them doing it? Pangalawa pong slogan sa ating movement. Slogan number 2 is, we speak where the Bible speaks. We are silent where the Bible is silent. Well, according to Philip Schaff, sa kanyang aklat na History of the Christian Church, Volume 7, ang slogan na ito, ang saying na ito ay nagsimula po kay Rupertus Mildenius, isa po siyang Orthodox Lutheran. Now, makikita po nyo na napakaganda rin ang slogan ito. We speak where the Bible speaks. We are silent where the Bible is silent. Gaano man kaganda po ito. Gayunpaman, nagbibigay pa rin po ito ng malaking problema minsan at suliranin. Lalo't higit yung pangalawa, we are silent where the Bible is silent. And maybe you can list some examples na grabe po ang nangyayari sa brotherhood because the Bible is silent and yet we are highly opinionated. And it brings some kind of chaos, kaguluhan, when we are supposed to be silent because the Bible is silent and yet we are hyper opinionated. Dito po sa slogan number 2 na ito, in the Restoration Movement, this slogan is attributed to Thomas Campbell. Si Thomas Campbell po ang tila man din nagbigay ng diin, nagpasikat, nagpopularize ng slogan na ito. We speak where the Bible speaks, we're silent where the Bible is silent. Napakaganda sana kung masusunod talaga natin ang lahat ng ito. Na we speak where the Bible speaks at hindi ka maging silent because the Bible speaks about it. At kung huwag ka namang maging maingay kung ang Biblia ay tahimik sa bagay na pinag-uusapan. Pangatlong slogan po, mga kapatid, mga kamag-aaral at gusto ko pong i-share sa inyo ng Restoration Movement. In essentials, unity. In non-essentials, liberty. In all things, love. May iba pong version nito at ang isang version po nito ay ganito, sabi. In faith, unity. In opinion, freedom. In all things, charity. Again, ito po ay kasabihan at lagi nating narinig, no, na laging nababanggit sa ating grupo. Grabe po, ano, grabe ang pagpapasikat ng slogan na ito. In faith, unity, in opinion, freedom, in all things, charity. Pero sabi nga po ni Jack Cottrell, ay ganito. Although the formula is generally accepted, there is no general agreement as to which doctrines should be considered essential. Many who discuss this issue define what they mean by essentials, but do not venture a list of the specific doctrines that fall into this category. Sabi nga, napakaganda sana talaga nitong slogan na ito, nitong formal na ito. And it is generally accepted. Kaya lamang, okay, well, doctrines, essential, okay. Ano yung mga essential na yon? Ano yung mga essential doctrines na yon? At doon nga po nagkakaroon ng mga problema sa tinatawag nating essentials, na tinatawag na essential doctrinal truth. Now, I have a full video on this 2 years ago. You can go back to that. Enough for me to say this kasi po, we're just reviewing the slogans of the Restoration Movement. But again, napakaganda po ng slogan na ito, but this is also susceptible. This is also a source of a problem sa marami pong mga bagay. No? So, yeah, ang gaganda po ng ating slogan. Let me review again. We are Christians only, but not the only Christians. Ginamit po ni Thomas W. Phillips Sr. We speak where the Bible speaks. We're silent where the Bible is silent. Not Philip Schaff, but Thomas Campbell, I believe. Yung pong pangatlo, ang kay Philip Schaff, na sinabi niyang ito ay galing kay Rupertus Meldenius. Yung in essentials, unity, in non-essentials, liberty, in all things, love. Yun po yung galing or nag-originate kay Rupertus Mildenius, isang Orthodox Lutheran. Kaya po yata ay nabanggit ko na sa kanya galing yung pangalawa, yung we speak where the Bible speaks and we are silent where the Bible is silent. That is attributed to uh, Thomas Campbell. Now, having said all of this, go and lahat po ng tinatawag nating anthem na ito na ating ininterpret yung song na ang ating paninindigan. And then we talk about the slogans. Let me talk about our attitude because our attitude matters. Our attitude matters. And this is where I want to call it down. This is where I want to rest my case sa unang segment po ng ating Restoration Movement 201. And this is a quote from David Faust. Siya po ay isang naging presidente ng Cincinnati Christian University. And he was actually actively writing during that time sa Christian Standards, sa Lookout. And he said it really well that I would like to share it with you. About attitude. About attitude. Let me read what he said. Too often over the last 100 years, even when our position has been right, our disposition has been wrong. When we say position, yung ating paniniwala sa tama. Yung biblical truth was our position. It has been right. Doctrinally, we are so close to the New Testament in interpreting doctrine. We are so close. Our disposition, ang sabi niya, meaning our attitude, our behavior, has been wrong. Let's continue reading what he said. We have not been humble, gentle, or patient with each other. We have been too preoccupied with our internal battles to serve the people outside the church. Tama naman, nakakapagod na, hindi po ba? We have been too preoccupied with our internal battles, yung tayo-tayo, at nalimutan na yata tila man din, it seems, na nalimutan to serve the people outside the church. Kasi parang grind na tayo po ang nag-grind at wala na tayong ginagrind, wala tayong ginagawa, kundi tayo na yung nagkukuskusan or nagsasakitan sa isa't isa. We've been too preoccupied with our internal battles to serve the people outside the church. Let's continue what he said. It clears away a lot of confusion when we decide that the Bible alone will be our standard for faith and practice. But how should we handle it when we still disagree about some of the details? Our attitude needs to be completely humble and gentle. We don't have to give up our convictions, but we do need to give up our pride. We don't have to give up our convictions, but we do need to give up our pride. At ang lahat na nagsasabi, kasi siya may pride eh. Before we point to others na siya ay may pride, bakit hindi din natin tignan ang ating mga sarili? Baka tayo rin may pride. It's a very beautiful attitude that we need to demonstrate as we pursue world evangelization, as we recapture the goal of the Restoration Movement, which is the vehicle. Unity to the scripture as the means to the end goal, which is world evangelization. Our attitude needs to be completely humble and gentle. We don't have to give up our convictions, Manindigan ka, stand firm of the faith, once and for all delivered to the saints. But please do give up the pride, yung pagmamataas. As if we hold the whole counsel of God. Mga kamag-aaral, dito po muna natin tatapusin ang unang bahagi ng Restoration Movement 201, which is basically a review of what we had discussed 2 years ago, just so we can connect the dots from there sa mga susunod pa nating pag-uusapan. Muli po, mga kamag-aaral, maraming salamat po sa inyong oras. Nagpapasalamat din po ako lagi na sa lahat ng ating mga kasama dito sa Maniwala Team, na ang Team Maniwala po ay patuloy na naglilingkod sa inyo so we can bring you some Bible discussion, some historical discussion that will strengthen your faith, that will help you go deeper in understanding the faith and where you started, kung saan tayo nagsimula. Muli po, I would like to encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jonathan Orellasa, parenthesis Maniwala, because sa susunod pong mga linggo, baka hindi nyo na makita dito po sa Facebook ang ating mga videos. So you can go to another site, which is the YouTube channel, so you can share it with others. Maraming salamat po. Patuloy nating ibinibigay ang papuri sa Diyos. Hanggang sa muli, Jonathan Orellasa.